Good afternoon. If we could ask everyone to take a seat, we'll get started. Thank you.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And the broken-hearted people living in the world are free. There will be an answer, let it be. Though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. 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 Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Welcome. On behalf of family and friends of Chris, we thank you for being here, especially those who made long trips from Alabama, Connecticut, Georgia, Illinois, New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and other places. Before we start, if anyone needs an order of service, can you please raise your hand and we will bring you one? Okay, everybody's good. It's a hot afternoon. This service will last for an hour at most. Please do whatever it takes to be comfortable. If you need a break from the sun, please feel free to move into the shade around us. We have allowed time after Sue's comments in case some of you would like to share a story or a memory of Chris. And now for the opening prayer.
God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not ours, be done. Amen.
Now we welcome J. David McDonald to give the eulogy.
Good afternoon. My name is David McDonald, and Chris was my son. Standing before you to bid farewell to Chris is the hardest thing I have ever had to do. Words cannot describe the sorrow and the loss that I feel today, but I will try. Some of you know, others may not, but Chris had an addiction which led to multiple health issues. But having said that, please know that his family and his extended family never stopped loving him. And today we commit to sharing both the grief and the joy of his life. Addiction consumes not just the body, but the mind and the soul as well. On many occasions, I had wished that if Chris had to have a disease, that it be one affecting only his body, because we could have surrounded him with love and care while he recovered. Unfortunately, his issues carried pain with them. The pain of loneliness, misunderstanding, both physical and mental separation, and at times anger. Anger from some like me who couldn't understand addiction. There were numerous times when Chris would do the courageous work of recovery, only to relapse and experience the pain and the tears of self-loathing. I read once that recovery is not about a bad person becoming good. Rather, it is about a sick person becoming well. While Chris put forth a valiant effort against his illnesses, I pray that we will remember him for his days of wellness, which were abundantly filled with his love for music. As a middle schooler, he played the clarinet and was good enough to have been chosen to play with the Central New Jersey Regional Band. In his later years, his interest shifted to classical music, especially Beethoven, and Mozart, and Strauss. His love for cooking began in his early teenage years. I remember an instance when he found a recipe for a French-oriented meal in the Sunday New York Times, but knew that our local grocery store wouldn't have the required ingredients. So on his own, he hopped on his bike, went to the next town, found what he needed, and made a delicious meal for the four of us. He searched for complicated recipes to cook because he enjoyed the challenge. His love for pro football. As a youngster, his team was the Dallas Cowboys. But after moving to Baltimore and meeting Sue, for some reason it became the Ravens. His love for reading started at a very young age, from the days his mother would read to him at bedtime. Soon thereafter, He started reading on his own, and his favorite was called the Earbook. Now, this is it, but it's not the original, because the original was read so many times, it just fell apart. But I would opine that this book was the first in his collection. And what a collection he had. His interests were so extensive and diverse. Authors like Shakespeare and Faulkner and Burns and Browning and Twain and Thoreau and Lincoln and St. Augustine, just to name a few. To give you an example of the diversity, Sandra and I were packing up some of his books yesterday and came across one entitled, I hope I pronounced this correctly, The Phenomenology of Spirit by Hegel. Not only do I have difficulty pronouncing that, I have no clue as to what it means. The book, what it's about. But I can tell you that Chris had an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. And even when he was possessed by his demons, his books gave him comfort. His remarkable ability to recall almost instantaneously facts and figures, and to easily carry on an intelligent conversation on virtually any subject. I have often wondered just how well he would have done as a contestant on Jeopardy! His support of Gilchrist Hospice by serving for years as a volunteer. As Sue mentioned in her email, he helped to ensure that residents did not die alone. How prophetic that was. When asked by his mother why he chose to do that, his response was simply, I almost died twice, and I wanted to give back. But most of all, from the depths of his soul, was his love for family. Sue and Will, Kate, and Michael. Chris, I am so grateful and thankful you were my son. I know that your struggle to get well was spurred by your love of family, and I respect and honor you for that. You will live in my heart forever. I wish to close by sharing with you an ode written by Norma Cornett Merrick. And I would humbly ask that when you leave here today, you will heed its message. It is a poem with poignant and haunting words, which I believe captures the symbolism underlying our gathering here this afternoon, because Chris's death was so swift and unexpected that no one had the opportunity to say goodbye. If I knew it would be the last time that I saw you fall asleep, I would tuck you in more tightly and pray the Lord your soul to keep. If I knew it would be the last time that I'd see you walk out the door, I would give you a hug and a kiss and call you back for just one more. If I knew it would be the last time I'd hear your voice lifted up in praise, I would tape each word and action and play them back throughout my days. If I knew it would be the last time I would spare an extra minute or two to stop and say, I love you, instead of assuming that you know I do. So just in case tomorrow never comes, and today is all I get, I'd like to say how much I love you and hope you never forget. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone, young or old alike. And today may be the last chance you get to hold your loved ones tight. So if you're waiting for tomorrow, why not do it today? For if tomorrow never comes, you will surely regret the day that you didn't take the extra time for a smile, a hug, or a kiss, or that you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their last wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear. Tell them that you love them very much and you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, it's okay, or thank you. And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets today. Goodbye, my son. Rest in peace. And may the good Lord welcome you with open arms, hold you in the palm of his hand, and point you in the direction of the library.
A reading from the Bible, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here with us today. This is my sister. She's here for moral support and possible backup. Chris was a person of few words, but I'm pretty sure no one has ever said that about me. And about Chris right now, I could talk for a very long time. However, the good news on this warm day is that I'll take my cue from him and keep it short. I timed it at under 3 minutes. I want to share 2 things I treasured about Chris and a poem I wrote. My poem is not in iambic pentameter. It's not even a haiku. It doesn't even rhyme. So keep your expectations low and don't worry, I don't plan to quit my day job. The first thing I want to say about him is that his commitment to me and to our children never wavered. Not once. This in spite of serious health problems, a long, discouraging fight to stay healthy, and 12 years of living apart. He prioritized our needs over his own in every way, entirely of his own volition. I would periodically encourage him to pursue whatever would bring him happiness or peace. What he wanted was to be there for me and for them, and he did all he could, and more than I could ever have asked or had any right to expect. The second thing I want to say about him is that his is the voice of calm reassurance. This is no small thing for someone like me who was a reflexive worrier. I would get all wound up with anxiety about something or other, and he would tell me, "It will all work out." He said this a lot. In fact, he told me this from his hospital bed near the end, when he knew the prognosis was bleak. He professed not to believe in God, but he had his own brand of faith, and mine has grown because of him. On the long list of reasons I'm grateful to Chris, that is near the top. Now here is my short poem. It's called Rest, Beloved. Rest, my love, your work is done. Your trials are ended. How hard this is, how I treasured you, far beyond what I knew. You deserved better. Maybe some spirits aren't meant for this life. You and I know you did your best. You left it all on the field. I carry you in my heart, happy and healthy and laughing again, and await you in my dreams. I have loved you for most of my life and will love you for the rest of it. Rest, beloved.
We now welcome anyone else who may want to share a story, a remembrance, a prayer for Chris.
Hi, I'm Tim Kitt. I am Chris's friend and fraternity brother from the University of Virginia, Theta Chi fraternity. And I hope it's okay for me to speak on behalf of his brothers at Theta Chi, who will miss him dearly, several of whom are here with me, and I'm the row sitting in today. Many of whom could not be here. I'm going to call out specifically our brother and a very close friend of Chris from the first year of college, Kermit Lowry, who I know was very close to Chris during his entire life. And unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. But, well, I think my recollections of Chris are just being an excellent friend, a fantastic brother. He was, I would say relatively soft-spoken versus a lot of the peers around him at my fraternity, and absolutely a voice of reason for all of us. When I think of Chris, what I'll always remember is his, I think, just a wonderful sense of humor. I remember Chris's sense of humor, a very dry, very funny wit, and I always think of that with Chris. And I'll think of this picture because this is how I remember Chris, and I think Art Arthur was telling me the same thing. This is how we remember Chris. This is the picture that's in our the pictures that we have up on the wall of fraternity, the composites. And anyway, this is how I will remember him, and I'm just on behalf of the Brotherhood. We're going to miss him, and you'll always be our brother, Chris.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
So this is completely unprepared, so please forgive me if I sound kind of silly, but Sue had this beautiful wedding to Chris, but she had the nerve to have it when I was out of town, and I wasn't able to attend it. I remember a conversation with Sue where we were talking about, I guess, our prospective fiancés, and I said, well, everybody has to have a passion in life. Everybody has to have a passion for something. It doesn't matter if it's for dining out or fine wines or nature or landscaping. What's Chris's passion? And I remember Sue saying, he doesn't really seem to have a passion other than his passion for me. And I think in the end that was enough. That was a beautiful thing to have a passion for.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I met Chris in 1989 when I moved to Baltimore. I worked with him at Chubb, and I remember always trying to talk to him, and he was really quiet and shy, but he was so interesting, and he loved to read, and he had a wonderful sense of humor. And I met Sue back in the day when you can answer an ad in the paper. I was looking for a roommate, and she was a wonderful roommate, and she liked to read, and they liked so many of the same things. I just thought, wow, if they met, they would hit it off so well. So we got this great idea, and this, you will appreciate this, Chris's dad, of making him a meal. So we did a stir fry, only we had never done a stir fry before. And it didn't turn out exactly as planned. And the vegetables, like you would pick up a carrot and it just kind of went, whoop. And he was so gracious, he ate it, but it really wasn't very good. And he just looked at us and he said, hey, guess what? We need to do this again. Next time I'll cook. He really had a wonderful sense of humor. He was one of the smartest people I ever worked with at work. I envied him because he remembered everything. He could be told something once and he had great recall. And he was funny and he was handsome and he had so many wonderful things going for him. And I'm just so happy that he was a part of my life that he was my friend and that he married like one of my best friends. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, there will be an opportunity to share stories during the reception for those who may not be so inclined to come up here before a crowd of people.
Soft as the voice of an angel, breathing a lesson unheard, with a gentle persuasion, whispers her comforting word. Wait till the darkness has over. Wait till the tempest is done. Hope for the sunshine tomorrow, after the darkness is gone. Whispering hope, oh how welcome thy voice, making my heart in its sorrow rejoice. In the dusk of the twilight, dim be the region far. Will not the descending darkness brighten the glimmering star? And when the night is upon us, why should the heart sink away? When the dark midnight is over, watch for the breaking of day. Whispering hope, oh how welcome thy voice, making my heart in its sorrow rejoice.
Chris's ashes and photo albums with pictures of his life can be visited in the library, a room Sue knows he would have loved. It's on the first floor of this house. The box of ashes is enveloped in a University of Virginia sweatshirt. If you have not yet signed one of the guest register books, please do so. They are on the table in the entrance hall. A light dinner will be served inside after the service. All are welcome. We have the use of the entire space, including the room upstairs and the outdoor amphitheater. Please feel free to spread out and to move the folding chairs however you'd like. The upstairs rooms already have seating available. A friendly reminder that masks are required by this venue except when eating. Social distancing and the use of outdoor spaces are encouraged, especially when eating. Finally, before our closing prayer, I want to wish a very happy 87th birthday today to Dr. Carolyn Battle, Chris's mother-in-law. Our closing prayer is printed in the order of service. Please feel free to join me in saying it or not, whatever you prefer. Here is the closing prayer. May memories of time with Chris and the many wonderful things about him continue ever to be a blessing to Sue, to his children, Will, Kate, and Michael, to his parents, Sandra and Dave, to his sister Ashley and her family, and to all who knew him. May all who mourn him take good care of themselves and each other, especially during the sad times ahead. For those who wish it, may grief bring them closer to God. May Chris rest in well-deserved peace. May those of us who believe we will see him again be right. Amen. That ends our service, and you are free to mingle, to eat, to socialize, and to give a whole lot of love.